I have a commercial production company. We have two separate companies, one called Alfredo and another one called Sauce. Alfredo is our broadcast commercial stuff. So a lot of the commercials you'll see on TV and stuff like that. And then Sauce is where we started, honestly. Sauce is where we started, which is branded digital content. It's a space for us to be as creative without any limitations. When you get into broadcast commercial, it's a lot more structured and fundamental versus Sauce is us getting, that's where it's really us kind of getting to explore so many different mediums. My journey to film actually started from the time I was in high school. In around like grade 11, I knew that I wanted to be a director or producer, and I just wanted to be involved in film. A lot of my friends and I, we were doing like a lot of music videos, even some branded content at the time. Just going around always shooting, thinking like, hey, let's do a commercial, let's do a short film. I decided I wanted to go to film school just because I wanted to see what career paths I could see if you can make a living doing arts. It's always, that's everyone's goal, right? I went to Humber College for 4 years for the film and media production program. After I graduated film school, to be honest, I didn't know what to do. I was a little bit lost. Eventually, I honed in on this on a editing gig with a production company, but I wanted to run my own production company. That's a dream of mine, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to explore commercials. I want to explore long format as well. Commercials kind of like a gateway into TV and long format and everything like that. And so my thing is, I always want to understand the inner workings of it all, and how do you make a functioning production company like the ones that we learned about in school, that you'll Google and you'll see the list of the top production companies. When I applied for that editing gig, it was between that and going into this it was a government funded program. It was called Biz Start under Youth Employment Services. And so I decided between the editing job and that. And so what I did is I worked 1 day at the editing job, and then I gave it my notice, and I decided to go the other route. Built the business through that. The great thing about that program is that what I didn't learn in film school is the business side of things. And so that helped fill the gap. And I kind of hustled to get clients. I was fortunate enough to get some pretty amazing clients. I was working with like Facebook Canada. I was working with Starbucks. I got to work with like Wealth Simple, a few really awesome brands, and then it helped build our portfolio. And then eventually got into broadcast commercials, and kind of the rest is history. Now we're here. I have two. By the way, I also have two other partners that I also went to film school with, so that helped as well. The relationships that I formed in film school, I carried throughout. Where I have two other amazing partners, and the three of us formed Alfredo.
You mentioned that you knew that you wanted to go to film school when you were in 11th grade. What was kind of like the thing that sparked all of that?
I went to sports high school. Before film, I was in martial arts my entire life. And so I came from like a martial arts background family. I was training for the 2012 Olympics, and I went to the Canadian Olympic trials for Taekwondo. And so my whole entire life was Taekwondo. As I was in the States for a tournament, and I got injured. I hurt my knee. I tore my ACL and MCL in my knee. And so that halted everything for a bit. And so I kind of got a chance to explore things that I like to do. I always loved martial arts, but it was kind of one of those things where I was born into it. I was running a Taekwondo school as well. Also, my high school teacher, my Comtech teacher, really supporting our creativity and letting us do whatever we wanted to, and giving us the tools to do that. I think all those things, and just being a part of like that weird film club crew, where we just did different things, and it all helped a lot. So that was the pivotal moment, I would say, when I hurt my knee, and I got to explore film.
I know that must have been hard to sort of make that transition from, all sports to filmmaking. Did you have any challenges when first making that transition?
It was definitely difficult because it was kind of like a loss of identity.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with my time. But for me, I think it just started off with passion, and I was just having fun. Like when I was in grade 11, it was like 2011. And so even back then we had all the we had all the tools to create to be creating, you know what I mean? Like that was back in the day where I know we have TikTok now, but Vine was, it was like the same thing. And it was just like we were using those tools, and we just kept on creating stories and shooting stuff. And I feel like it was all passion based, and then it kind of led to, okay, where can we make a career path out of this? But for the important thing is it's starting from passion, a place of love, right?
You had like a Comtech class, but other than that, were there any programs that you used to help get you started, or were you fully self-taught?
Not self-taught. It was I mean, it started with us picking up a camera and started shooting. But my Comtech teacher, I think, really he used to be in the film industry, so it helped a lot. But yeah, it was honestly all of the stuff we were doing outside of school, shooting music videos, shooting a short film, just like trial and error tutorials on the internet. I was lucky enough to, like, when I was in high school, I was doing like those Ontario skills challenges. So I was like doing animation, I was doing the film stuff, and those were the greatest tools, honestly. And then yeah, eventually going to film school and learning all the fundamental stuff.
So can you tell us where that name came from and why
Yeah.
the sauce is like so important to you?
So actually, Alfredo's my middle name. We don't advertise that, but it's my middle name. I was going under the umbrella Alfredo since high school, and it carried throughout college, and then after. I think it was just different things kept on being adopted under that name. At first, I was a videographer, so it was just me going out there doing corporate stuff, and then that's back in high school, or shooting a short film or two or here or there. And then when I went to Humber, I made a few short films that did really well on some festival circuits, and that was, I feel like, the start of me starting to understand the film industry. And then post secondary, it was the birth of us forming the company and building that up. So it's kind of gone through its transitions, and we like to play off the sauce stuff because I know when we were younger, we would always say, like, you gotta have that sauce, you gotta have that thing that makes you different, right? And inherently, I feel like my two other partners and myself, we all have very different experiences and different backgrounds that contributed to our uniqueness.
What are some of the most meaningful projects to you, or some of the most notable?
We did a commercial for York University, and that one was awesome because I didn't get accepted into York University, and I might have been butthurt for a long time about that. When I was in high school, I was in the IEP program, so I had like a lot of I don't like to call them learning disadvantages, because they're not. You can navigate life however you want to, you know what I mean? And so when I didn't get into York and a few other schools, it shook my confidence. And so to be able to persevere and still go to a post-secondary school and to graduate, to come out and to have a thesis done, and then build a company to the point where I was able to do a few of their commercials. That meant a lot. It was our first commercial where we had remote directing. With this pandemic, you can't fly a director, anywhere. So we had our director directed it from Europe, and also we got to have the set be BIPOC led, which was really another really important thing for us. We're one of the few BIPOC led companies, production companies out there right now. And so to have that, and then also promote York's engineering program to be more gender balanced, was something very important to me. So I think that's one of the most important projects to me, just because it was like this weird come full circle thing. And then I would say another project that was cool was when we first started out, is that we got to work with Post Malone for a bit. And so that was super awesome. That was at the beginning of his career. We became close with his manager and his team and him, and it was awesome. We got to do a few stuff for his logos and some tours with him, and it was awesome. He's super friendly. He would bring me out on stage for his song Congratulations, and it was like the time of my life. We got to hang out with members of the Wu-Tang Clan for 2 days, and that was super cool. And I'm like, my dad and I, like, I grew up on that, and that was a big part of his life, and so that was huge as well. And just like being able to meet different artists and stuff like that was super cool.
What do you find is the best thing about what you're doing right now?
For me, it's always meeting. It's always been meeting new people. I'm very active. I like to meet new people. I like to form new relationships. I was always a shy kid, and like in high school, I was super shy. And then I think film pushed me outside of my comfort zone. It's what's going to keep it going. That's what keeps it fun. That's what keeps it passionate. So yeah, I would say those are the highlights for me.
And alternately, what would you say is sort of the most challenging part of your job?
Keeping self-motivated.
Mhm.
This is one of my current um, problems, I guess. When we first started, the ceiling is so high that you're going around coffee saying, "This is my work." You're yelling it to the world. You're saying, getting anyone you can to notice. I would knock on all the doors of like the agencies and brands and companies, and I would go in there and pitch and stuff like that. And so that's good for a while, but it's when things start going well that you get this imposter syndrome. Like, do I deserve to be at the table? For us, we're like one of the few, we're the youngest EPs, creators, and being BIPOC led, and not coming out of school for not that long ago, and being at the table at that a lot of people said that you wouldn't be at, as well as and this is something that I am hoping to change in this industry. It's a system that sometimes isn't meant for BIPOC. I remember going to an advertising agency for the first time, seeing no one that looks like me. Even, to be honest, even in my school, I love Humber. I don't like to speak ill will, but there's not that many BIPOC people that I went to school with. We definitely had some diversity, but it wasn't too much. For me, those things can feel like lows a lot of the times, but it's just keep knocking those walls and those doors down confidently. When you finally get to that table and you have that imposter syndrome, which I honestly every day I have it. It's terrible. It's realizing that you worked hard to be at that table and you deserve to be at that table.
A lot of people, when they're working on something, there's always something that like they need to work on, or there's always something that they feel is imperfect. How do you find the balance between that?
There's a lot of things that I cannot do, honestly. For me, I kind of run the ship at Alfredo, but I very, very, very much depend on everyone that's there, because I cannot do what they can do. And also I need their help for some of the things, like for a lot of the things that I can't do. And so I feel like, to answer that question, you have to lean on other people. You have to lean on other people to find that balance.
What are you doing to try to change that? And what would you like to see the media industry do?
I am definitely working on the front of talking to definitely older generation and our gen and my age group in our generation. Time will tell, and things will change. And so just keeping the conversations going, keep informing people on the things that we can do better. Beyond that, implementing them. I always hear, where do I find BIPOC creators? Where do I find a BIPOC director? Where do I find that person? They're out there. You got to do your research. You got to look, and you have to want to implement that. It starts with talking to the younger generation, and it starts by encouraging them that you can go into the art form. It can be a career path, and you might face challenges based on your identity. Knock them down. You know what I mean? Also, our generation older, not being ridiculous gatekeepers. It's a very closed industry and a very boys club industry, and which I hate so much. And so for me, it's important to not be a gatekeeper, and whatever information people want, I will literally give you the information, because what am I gonna do with it?
Your main message, or one of your main messages, is that people need to find their sauce, or the thing that sort of differentiates them from other people. Why do you think this is an important message to spread to others?
No matter who you are, however you identify, whatever capabilities that you have, you can unlock any potential, right? That's what makes you unique. So everyone has that secret sauce, and it's a matter of constantly bringing it out. That's how I like to express that, what's the sauce? How's that secret
Mhm.
sauce? Like everyone has it. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer to unlock that. Sometimes it's a different pathway. There's no straight line. It moves all over the place, It's however long it takes, it's there no matter what. Yeah.
What would you say that Alfredo Films' sauce is?
Again, I think it's honestly uniquely us, our individual selves. The three of us, bring very separate things to the table, and when they're together, it's unstoppable. So, yeah, it's us.
How has the year 2020 affected Alfredo Films and your line of work?
In a time where a lot of people are not doing too well, I'm very fortunate enough to be in film, and I'm very fortunate enough to be doing well. Well, obviously, we're allowed to shoot right now, and so that's always great. But you know what? It started very poopy. Got to be honest. It was terrible. The beginning of the coronavirus, we were supposed to shoot in Australia, which was on fire. We were supposed to shoot in Singapore, and those were really big ticket jobs. We were changing offices. We had big ticket jobs, and then it went to everything was shut down. The three of us as partners, we stopped talking for like a month and a half because like what were we supposed to do? There's a few moments where we're like, all right, this might be the end of our company, but it's kind of just like the find a solution, find a way. There's three of us, there's three heads together, we're a team, there's a way out of this. And yeah, it's a journey for sure, but at the end of the day, you just got to keep going. Things get rough, but it's rough for like a moment, and then you get past that moment.
For students like my age and Sana's age, what advice do you have for people like us?
When I wanted to go into it, my parents thought I was crazy. My dad had a photography studio. So it was kind of like I was kind of born at that in that sense as well. When he learned that I wanted to give up Taekwondo and go into film, he was like, "Are you crazy?" I was like, "No, there's like the film industry it's not what you think it is. It's not just me out there with a camera. There are endless amount of jobs in the industry. Like it's insane. It caters to whatever skill set a person can have. If you're good at drawing, you could be a storyboard artist. If you're good at drawing, you can go into animation. If you're on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever a lot, and you do a lot of like like you're gramming food, or you like to take photos of your food, you can be a food stylist. People get caught up in sometimes they're very flashy big sets. Sometimes you might find something that you don't like, and it can deter you from the industry. I say, you know what, push a little further. There's so many, try out all these different things. I don't know, like it's endless what you can do. And you know what, let me throw some advice for anyone that is that you start a production company. I always say there's three things don't do. Don't start an apparel. Don't start getting t-shirts, hoodies, caps, mugs, or anything like that. Put your money into your business. The second thing is don't get an office. Honestly, you would think that being in an office and with your whiteboards and computers and like, everyone's on staff and everyone's doing things, that it's like going to be this like well-oiled machine. We're 10 times more productive from home than we were in an office. 10,000, like I can't even explain it. To sell yourself, all you really need is your phone or laptop. There's just some misconceptions of what a production company needs, and always funnel the money back into yourself, and that's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like, don't be flashy. Don't go
Don't
over.
be flashy. Don't be cloudy. Clout is dangerous. Oh, that was the third thing. Don't ever be cloudy. I work with a lot of people who have insane followings, and it's nothing is as it seems. Clout is not as sustainable as people think it is. Honestly, just like do the grind, hard work, and have your goals, and just reach those goals.
What advice do you have for people who want to go to film school or are already in film school?
Stick it out. Honestly, I know the transition from high school to post-secondary can be very scary because it can feel like a lot. Stick it out and ask for help and look for help. Don't go it alone.
Mhm.
Find that group. And it could be someone that's not even in your school. Honestly, you just be talking to, it could be whoever, you know. But just find someone that you can lean on, and that helps a lot.
Why do you think it's important for people, especially students, to follow their passions and continually work hard to achieve their sort of dreams, just like you've done?
I think it's important because you should always strive. I'm just gonna sound so cliche, but you should always strive to be whatever best version of yourself, and we every day we can always be better, and you're always learning, really. You know what I mean? You're never not learning. Put the ego aside, humble yourself, and know that like you're always learning. And every time you're learning, you're just gonna become a better version of yourself, right? That's what makes things fun. Make it challenging for yourself, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.